You're very welcome back to Ireland AM. Now, our next guest was put on the pill age 16 to help manage her acne, but found the experience wasn't quite what she expected.
To discuss further, we're joined by Annabel Bidloff alongside women's health specialist Dr. Caoimhe Hartley. Hello, good morning. It's lovely to have you here. Now, before we jump into your story, Caoimhe, can you talk to us a little bit about contraceptives, hormonal contraceptives? What are they?
Yeah, so loads of different types of contraceptive options out there to prevent pregnancy. That's what you're using your contraceptive for. You can split them into barrier methods. They're your non-hormonal methods like condoms and female diaphragms. Then you have the copper coil, which also doesn't contain a hormone. And then you have your hormonal methods. So they can be split into things that you take by mouth. So you have your contraceptive tablets. The pill, as people would know it, that contains estrogen and progestin, so 2 hormones. You have other methods then taken by mouth called the mini pill, which is just progestin, so 1 hormone. It's a bit different.
Yeah.
Then you have patches. So they're applied once a week and changed once a week. And again, they contain estrogen and progestin. There's a little ring called Nuva ring, also estrogen and progestin, that's inserted vaginally. You have the bar, which is implanted into your arm. That releases progestin. It stays in for 3 years. And you have the contraceptive coil containing a hormone. So that contains progestin. There's different doses. There's 3 different progestin-containing coils, and that releases this hormone into the lining of your womb and prevents pregnancy. I think...
Can I just say, well done? That was so incredibly impressive.
Lots of options, right?
Oh, the depot. I forgot one. The injection.
The injection.
Sorry, I knew I'd forget something, yeah.
Okay. Depot as well.
Injection, yeah.
But a lot of these are given not just for contraceptive measures. Some are given for a lot of other reasons, right?
Well, there's so many benefits. It empowers you to control your cycle. If you're someone who experiences heavy and painful periods, having some control over that and influence over that is really welcome. There's obviously the birth control benefits. It can be good for acne. And then there's other things, there's even health benefits, like, you know, if you're not bleeding every month or having heavy menstrual bleeding, then we're reducing the chance of you having anemia, for example. But also it reduces ovarian, colorectal cancer and womb cancer rates as well. So there's some health benefits too.
Okay.
But you have to be balanced about it. It depends on the person.
Well, Annabel, let's talk about your journey then with contraceptives. You started at 16 for acne, is that right?
Yeah, so I started at 16 because I had really horrendous acne and I was experiencing a lot of premenstrual anxiety and depression. And I'd been on, for my acne, I'd been on antibiotics for stuff that wasn't working. And I went in with my mother and I was at the end of my rope and I was like, you know what, once a month, I can't deal with the anxiety, can't deal with the depression. What can you do for me? And the first question was, have you considered the pill? And I was 16, like I was freshly 16. And so I went on the combined pill at 16, stayed on that then until I was 19 or 20, and I changed over to the mini pill, which I found to be absolutely awful. It was just like exactly like I'd been before I'd gone on the pill with the anxiety, but a lot worse. And I couldn't quite pinpoint what it was. And I went back to my doctor and I asked, you know, what could it be? Could I maybe change what I'm on? Could I come off what I'm on? And they suggested I go on the bar. And so I had the
Had anything improved? Sorry, I'm just wondering, when you first went on the pill, you went on for your acne. Had anything helped?
It was a bit better. My anxiety was a little bit better, but again, I was getting a little bit older.
And was this anxiety directly before your period, during your period, or was it all the time?
I have a very short menstrual period, so mine was 21 days.
Okay.
So I'd have like one week where I'd bleed, 1 week between it, and then 1 week where it was just pure anxiety, and it was unbearable. But then like it did help a little bit with that because my cycle was a little bit longer. I was able to keep on top of it. But there was I lost a lot of hair. There's a lot of weight gain, very uncomfortable. So that's why I changed over to the mini pill. Then it just became anxiety, and then on the bar, even more anxiety. And I remember when I got the bar in, I was asked, how long do you have until you finish college? And I said, oh, I've got 2 years. Oh, that's great. You'll be having kids by then. It'll be a great time for it to come out. And then...
Who said that?
My GP. My GP. And listen, it was said with the best intentions, but it's when you're reduced from, you know, it being for the sake of your sanity to contraceptives, it's a little bit disheartening. And then when I did want to get it out, I went back to my GP, but a different GP, and I asked to get it out because I just wanted to see how things work. Because I'd been on hormonal birth control since I was a child. This was just last year. And I was told, oh, you've only had it in for a year. What a waste of an implant. Are you sure you don't want to leave it for the other 2 years? I was like, no, I just want to see how things are. And so that's
and how were things when you had the bar?
Absolutely awful. I don't think I've ever been so down or so distressed.
Right.
I thought at the time it was just because, you know, I've gotten a bit older, you know, things might be difficult, college is a little bit difficult, but the second I got it out, things were so much better. Like, I was a whole new person.
So, now that you have no contraceptives at all, you feel better. You're not, because what made you go to get the contraceptives in the first place? Was it just acne, or was it anxiety as well?
No, so it wasn't for contraceptive purposes. It was literally to manage my acne and to manage my anxiety.
So now that you don't have anything again, are you back to that again?
I've grown up. It's
okay.
This is why I wanted to come off it, and for so long I was discouraged coming off it, which is crazy. I'm a lot better. Like, I started my period when I was 12, so there was only 4 years between me getting my first period and being put on birth control. And I do think that was an incredibly short gap. Like, I was very, very young, especially at that point. Like, you haven't finished growing. Like, I didn't know what life was. I didn't know what anxiety was. Obviously I knew what anxiety was, but I wasn't experiencing life. I was just experiencing growing up. And it remedied it at the time, but I do feel that I grew out of it before I was told it's okay to come off this. You're almost discouraged to come off it. You know?
Caoimhe, is this what can happen to some people who don't agree with hormonal contraceptives?
Yeah, it doesn't suit everybody. And I think fundamentally the message is we're all individual and no one can make a decision for you. So our job in general practice is to give you your options and guide you with regards to what is safe and what might be beneficial, and then provide you a safety net for if things aren't working out, to help you figure out how you can then address that or fix it, or what your options are in terms of changing or coming off something. So a lot of people find with the contraceptive pill that the progestin in it, because that's what makes the different brands of pill different from each other, it's the progestin. And some progestins will suit some people and some won't. You can get mood issues, headaches or breast tenderness or bloating or breakthrough bleeding, just depending on the person. And, you know, like the symptoms that you've discovered, like anxiety and acne, they can be improved, but they can be worse for some people too. It's trial and error. And I think a lot of women find they have to kind of chop and change a little bit to find a contraceptive choice that really suits them. At the end of the day, it's not my decision if somebody takes birth control or why they're on it. It's my decision to counsel them on what is safe and what their options are. You know, and I think having a really healthy discussion about all of that is really important.
So you're not using contraceptives now, and that's fine for you. I'm sure. Do your friends? Do you talk about this together?
Yeah. So it's actually more common than not in my social circles that people have either come off hormonal birth control or they're trying to come off it. You're not taught in school that there are more options than just condoms and the pill. So it's shocking when you get into your 20s and suddenly you're discovering, like, oh, I can actually just track my cycle. And it may not be as effective as hormonal contraceptives, but it's still effective enough that if it's
Are
not
we talking about family planning here? Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah, like natural family planning.
So how is your anxiety? How's all that? Since the bar
fine.
came out?
Yeah,
so
no,
that's all fine.
It's gotten so much better. I'm a whole new person.
Okay.
And it's the same with like a lot of my friends who we do talk about it. This is what I'm saying about the natural family planning. Like, coming off of birth control is making so much difference for people my age that a lot of people, I've never met someone that agreed with it like immediately, or the people who I have met that do agree with the hormones, they're kind of shocked when you tell them that you're not. There's almost more stigma not being on the pill than there is being on the pill. Or if you've been on it and come off it, the question is, oh, but why did you do it? Is it some sort of like weird like anti-pill thing? No, it's just saying that it doesn't work for me, it might work for you. So it's very, very difficult. But we do talk about it, and it's great that more people are talking about it.
Okay, I suppose this is a generational thing, because most of my friends wouldn't have been on contraceptives. You know, you're a different generation to me. So for you in your life, it's natural family planning, condoms?
Yes, yeah. So condoms, natural family planning, and also just like generally being careful. Like, I think there's a lot of women like my age who were very young when they were put on the pill, and so became kind of reliant on it. And it really does worry me for some young women, because, you know, you're not taught how your cycle works beyond you get your period. There's this gap that you can maybe get pregnant in, just don't have sex. Like, if you're not on the pill, don't have sex. If you're not using condoms, don't have sex. But like, we are not taught enough about how the pill works before we are, you know, taking it. You know, you can't really go and ask the questions, because I remember going to my GP and it's like, well, you can take a break. You cannot take, like, you can decide not to take a break. There are no side effects. There are a lot of side effects. you are having side effects. These aren't side effects. You know, it's very unclear, and it's for, especially for such young women, it's very, very scary.
So maybe the issues around education, and not that there's anything wrong. Like, I think having hormonal contraceptive choices is so important. Women with endometriosis, women with other, you know, issues with very difficult periods, all benefit from often being on the pill. So there's individuality around that. Maybe the issue is how we approach the communication about it and the education piece, and sort of empower women to say, look, these are the choices and these are the risks and these are the side effects and these are the benefits, and you make your own decision, and we sort of facilitate that. So it's that kind of like collaborative decision making. But I think maybe that's the issue, as opposed to, I think reducing choices is not the way to go.
Oh, 100%.
And stigmatising people for the choice that they make is not the way to go. And the pill has so many benefits. And all of these other contraceptive options have so many benefits too. And we fought so hard to have contraception. Like, it wasn't even legal in Ireland until the 1980s. But I think educating women and making sure they know what choices they're making and what choices they have is the bit that we need to work on.
Absolutely. And whatever's working for you, you seem like you're great, you're happy, you're good.
Yeah.
I am.
You're good. That's great. Very interesting. Thank you so much for coming in and always talking to us, Dr. Caoimhe Hartley and Annabel Biddulph. Thank you so much for chatting to us this morning.
Thank you very much. Right, time to take a short break. We'll see you back here very shortly.
Thanks, Benny.